Iranian officials are in Geneva this week to meet with members from the United States, Russia, China, France, Britain, and Germany to discuss a deal in order to curb sanctions. In exchange, Tehran would suspend part of its nuclear enrichment program. Iran has been slammed with one round of sanctions after another in the past from the U.S. and other countries in response to its uranium enrichment, though it vehemently denies any attempts to build nuclear weapons. Diplomats are looking for new prospects of compromise now that Hassan Rouhani has been in power for just over 100 days since taking over for Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. RT's Anastasia Churkina filled us in on the latest details of these talks.
Well, Megan, like you just said, this is the permanent five of the Security Council plus one, being Germany plus Iran, of course, meeting for a third round of negotiations. We have to say that the first two rounds took place within a month in October and November this year, just recently, although they did not produce any specific results. This particular round, taking place in Geneva, Switzerland, from starting today until Friday, is really the latest attempt to kind of try to find a solution to this dispute between Iran and the rest of the international community. Of course, as you rightfully said, over the last several years, there's been a major standoff with Iran saying that its uranium enrichment program is for peaceful purposes exclusively. The West is not buying this. They're fearful that it could be getting closer to building a nuclear weapon. And so these discussions with the new Iranian president are certainly an attempt to try to reach some kind of deal to improve this whole situation.
Now, do we know what specifically is on the table during this round? What kind of a deal the negotiators involved in the matter are trying to hammer out?
Well, Meg, we know that, first of all, this round of negotiations is completely closed to the press, and we've heard that the participants, the key negotiators, are not really going to share many of the details until they reach some sort of agreement. But the basis, of course, we do know that the major idea behind this potential deal to be hopefully struck soon is that Tehran will halt some of the more sensitive parts of its uranium enrichment program. In return, the U.S. will limit and refrain some of the kind of lighten some of the existing sanctions that they have imposed on Iran over the years. A little more specifically, we know that potentially Iran could be asked to stop producing uranium of certain concentration, to convert certain existing stockpiles to something that the U.S. would see as less dangerous, to potentially, and this has been kind of a stone of contention there, move some of its existing stockpiles abroad, and several other pointers which we will end up seeing if this deal is struck. And in return, the U.S. would unfreeze some of the foreign bank accounts, for one, and kind of lighten the sanctions around the oil exports of Iran, as well as some of its trade sanctions.
Now, Anastasia, I know Republican lawmakers would argue that the fact that Iran is coming forward to negotiate proves that diplomatic sanctions are effective. Is there any proof that the two are correlated?
Well, you know, Meg, it's hard to say, because certainly these diplomatic sanctions that have been imposed on Iran over the years were kind of angering Iran, and they've been hurting the country and its economy, and you know, the goal of hurting Iran because it was refusing to negotiate and kind of work with the West has certainly worked in a sense. But when it comes to reaching a longer-running solution to this dispute and major tensions surrounding Iran's uranium enrichment program, certainly sanctions do not seem to have helped thus far, because now what's being considered is making them lighter so that Tehran also steps forward and kind of warms its attitude towards the West.
And Anastasia, we know that Israel has been extremely suspicious and negative about the potential deal reached with Iran. What is the latest that they are saying about this potential deal?
Well, you know, Israel has been pretty consistent over the years, and including recently, in terms of its attitudes towards Iran. It's certainly no secrets that Israel, you know, assuming it's one of the countries in the Middle East, the only one that does have actually some kind of nuclear arsenal, and that's assumed by the international community, Israel has been basically saying that there's no way that any type of sanctions should be relieved from Iran. They're saying that this is a bad deal if it's going to be reached. They're saying that, if anything, there needs to be a much tougher approach on Iran, and that it's kind of getting an easy deal when it comes to these rounds of negotiations. But also, we have to say that that kind of approach has certainly not improved the situation, and you know, it's just sticking with the main line of thinking that they've been with over the last years.
RT correspondent Anastasia Churkina reporting from New York.